Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of Odyssey, Book 4, and I got up to, last time, the end of line 540, so up to the beginning of 541. So poor old Menelaus is somewhat devastated to hear about the murder of his brother, and he's very distressed about it, and he finishes off by saying that his heart no longer wished to live and to see the light of the sun. But we get a nice atar, but when. Now, koresthein is from korenumi, and this is a passive. When he was satisfied, when he was satiated, when he'd had enough, to put it into better English, I suppose. So, but when he'd had sufficient, when he'd had enough of weeping and rolling about, we get our word cylinder from this, of course, rolling about, and at that time then, the old man of the sea, now this is an adjective here, we've seen the noun I think before, this is the adjective here, simply meaning the truthful one, the one who tells the truth. So he addressed me. Maegeti, no longer son of Atreus. Claire, this is an epsilon has been elided, so no longer weep for such a long time. Thus askeles, well, something like unrelenting or worn out, perhaps unrelentingly. Since, now the daomen is from that verb meaning to find. There's lots of these verbs with day in them, but this one is the verb to find. So, and it's a future here without a sigma, or probably a future. Since we will not find any anusin, well, anusis is sort of perhaps help. It really has the sense of anuo is to complete something, so there's no end to it, basically, is what he's saying. Since we will not find, or we shall not find, any end to it or any help, perhaps, in it. Alatakista, but as quickly as possible, peira is an imperative from peirao, so make an attempt as to how you might go, in fact, into your native land, into your ancestral land. Now we get A and A, so for either, kikasei, this is from kikano, this is the aorist second person singular, so for either, and it's future here with the sigma, so either you will find min, now this is referring to Aegisthus, so you will either find him in fact alive, or Odysseus would have killed him. Hupophtharminos, this is from that phthano verb, sort of getting in beforehand. So you'll either find him alive, in fact, or Odysseus would have got in first and killed him. Su deken tafu antilobesais. Now this is I think this is an octative here, so you would meet with his tomb. So in other words, if Orestes had killed him, got in before you and killed him, then you will find his tomb. You would come across his tomb. And thus he spoke, but the heart and manly thumos, manly soul, for me. Now the main verb here is ianthe, from eino, to warm. So this is the aorist passive here. So it was warmed again in my breast, and then kai with the pair, although for me being vexed. So this is dative agreeing with the emoi. So although I was vexed, my heart and my manly soul were warmed again in my breast. Kaimin Phonesas, and speaking, I addressed, it's imperfect, so I began to address him with winged words. I began to speak winged words to him. It takes a double accusative. And he says, Tutus mende oya. These two men, I think it's the tutus, then I know about. So I now know about these ones, but, and we're going to men and a de, but you named a third man. So it's almost a double here. I know about these men, but you now name the third man. Hostis etit soas, who is still alive, and he is being detained on the broad sea, or thanon, is he dead? It's just an aorist participle, or having died. Slightly odd, you might expect not a participle here, but that's what you get here. So who is detained, still alive on the, it's almost like a question, but it's not really. So who is still alive and is detained on the broad sea, or is he one who has died? But I wish also, although being vexed, accusai to hear this. Hosepharmain, and thus I spoke, but he, answering me immediately, prosiepen, he said, it is the son of Laertes, dwelling in houses in Ithaca. Well, that's where his houses are. This naion often takes dwelling in and takes accusative, so it's almost, he has his houses, but he dwells in houses in Ithaca. Him I saw, now the kata goes with the kionta. There's a preverb again from katakio, to pouring down a gentle tear in the island. And the nymph Calypso, it's a genitive. So it's the island of the nymph Calypso, this is a genitive here. It's in the halls of the nymph Calypso. Let me do that again. So him I saw shedding a gentle tear in the halls of the nymph Calypso, who min ananke iske on the next page. So who holds him, min for out on, ananke, well, almost by force, but by necessity, literally. So under duress, we might say, for ananke. And there's the main verb iske. She holds him, she restrains him under duress. But he is not able, hikesthai, to come to his ancestral land. Again, personal adjective here with the hain for his. Uga hoi para neis, and notice the accent on para. The hoi is enclitic, so it's putting its accent back here again. So para with that accent means they are present. So nor are there present hoi for him ships with oars, so oared ships, and comrades. So he hasn't got any oared ships or comrades. Who, and we get ken with the optative, who might send him on the broad back of the sea. So that's the story then of what's going on with Odysseus so far. Soi du despoton esti. That is estis enclitic again, that's why you get this double accent here. So it is not despoton fated for you, O Menelaus, nourished by Zeus. It's not fated for you, thanein, to die. We get a repetition of the epsilon here just for the meter, I think, to get an extra syllable. So it's not fated for you, O Menelaus, nourished by Zeus, to die. in horse feeding Argos. This is from hippos, a horse, and the bot connected with bosco, to feed or to tend. Horse tending, horse feeding Argos. And epispain potmon, and to meet with your doom, with your fate. Allah, but, now the next line is the Athanatoi, the immortal ones, Pempsusi, will send set you into the Elysian Plain and the Peratagaias, and to the ends of the earth, or the bounds of the earth. So he's not going to die, he's going to be transported off to the Elysian Plain. Hothi, where, and we've got the editor's helpfully put a comma here, so let us apply the verb to be, where golden-haired Rhadamanthus is. Te peraisti biote pele anthropoisin. Now the te must be like, it's feminine, so it's in the place, so it's sort of like where, in the place where, or almost there indeed. The pair emphasises everything, including the next bit. So where there is a very easy life, and pele for esti, often get pelamai used, or pelo used in the sense, just like the verb to be. So it's in the place where there is a very easy life, anthropoisin, for men. Uniphatos, there is no snow, or perhaps sleet almost, nor is there any kaimon, well, it could be winter or storm, but winter perhaps, nor is there ever much rain, pot ombros. Al-ie, but continually, look for a subject that's here, Oceanus, so Oceanus, look for the verb, and an easin from anhiemi, sends forth, or literally sends up. Now the ligu will be adverbial here, shrilly, the blasts of wind, the aetas, or gales, or perhaps breezes would be nice here. So, but continually Oceanus sends up breezes shrilly from Zephyrus blowing. So it's not quite a genitive absolute here, it's really from or by the means of Zephyrus blowing shrilly winds. He sends them forth, anapsukein anthropus, to refresh, anapsuko, it's to revive, refresh men. So since continually, let's put this again, to refresh men, Oceanus sends up shrilly the breezes from Zephyrus blowing. So from blowing Zephyrus. Zephyrus, of course, is the zephyr wind. It's that nice, pleasant, slightly warmish wind. Hunek, they're going to do all this, Hunek for Hoti, because you have, understand as wife, Helen, and you are Spin for Spisi, you are for them, that is for the immortal gods, so in other words, in their eyes, you are the Gambros Dios, you are the son-in-law of Zeus, because you're married to Helen, and Helen was supposed to have been born by Zeus. Thus speaking, Dusatot, this is the old man of the sea, he dove down under the wavy sea, under the wavy ponton, the wavy sea, the wavy ocean. Kumino is a participle here, with swelling with waves. But I went, this is that verb, another one of the verbs of going. So I went to the ships along with my godlike comrades Again, the iota missing here to make a short syllable. And the heart for me, porphyre is a verb meaning to be troubled. It's probably a reduplicated form from furo. It means to be disturbed or troubled. So the heart for me as I went, this is from Keo, another verb of going. So the heart, so as I went, my heart muchly, or perhaps greatly, was troubled. And that's the next section of Book 4.